What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into the Sunday morning live stream with me, Matt Perrault. I'm your host for the Daily Juice podcast. In case you don't know who I am, no more Dan Harris, which we could pour one out for Mr. Dan. He's off doing big things in the world. So it's just going to be me for the postseason, which I'm not sure that's a great thing given my track record in the postseason, but we had almost 300 people waiting to get into this thing. So I do appreciate the interest, and I do appreciate you guys wanting to be a part of this morning. You're going to get me rambling. Now, there are some ideas and thoughts about me potentially having a guest with me for this next week. It just didn't work out this week for us to be able to do it. So maybe next week we'll be able to kind of throw somebody on with me and Milka bits and banter back and forth during this half hour, 40 minutes, whatever we're going to go here for our live stream. I've got a bunch of information. We do have the 4-player props. And if something does wind up popping and there need to be a lot of movement for this to happen, but there may be something from a Wong teaser perspective. If you're with us during the regular season, we had a pretty good track record. 11-6 is where we wound up going for the Wong teaser on this. And it's rare that you get Wong teaser opportunities in the postseason just because you have to qualify. And the whole point of a Wong teaser is looking at the entire board and then having the ability to jump in on certain numbers and key totals that make sense. And really, there's not any at the moment that make a lot of sense. The biggest story of the morning, though, is the movement towards the Philadelphia Eagles here today. And this number opening up at 7, being bet to 8.5 by the books, now back to 7 at the opener. And I don't really hate it, to be quite honest. I understand the point that, hey, look at the weather today. Everyone's saying don't count, the wind doesn't mean anything. Look, it's sunny and it's 65. Okay. The rain has come through, but the wind is what you have to watch. And I'm sorry, if someone says that sustained wind gusts of 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour is nothing, I just don't agree at all. It is something. It is significant. I think you have to put it into your handicap. And that's why the total in this game, which was in the 50s, is now down to 47. So you're seeing a lot of under money come in. I mean, I'm following the same trend. I mean, I'm betting the same thing. I took it earlier than most people and I teased it down. Now, I personally would have rather have teased 7 than 8.5, but going below the key number of 3 was the most important thing for me with that bet. So I've taken the Bucks down to 2.5. I took the total. I pushed the total up to 52 and I took the under. I would have rather have pushed it up to 53, and go 6 points and take the under there, but that's fine. I mean, that's, it is what it is. So then the over has ticked back up a point because of the fact that it's not going to be as bad as we thought. But like we saw last night with the Bills and the Patriots, the Bills got there themselves to cover the total, to cover the 44. Cold and snow doesn't matter. Okay. Extreme cold can matter at times, but really, as you saw, it sometimes doesn't. I mean, defense has to show up. Personally, Patriots defense didn't show up at all in that game, but you normally look at, from a handicapping perspective, everybody was on the under because of the extreme cold. I didn't hate that. I do think extreme cold can factor in, but wind is the major point for an under. All right. Wind affects everything. Passing yardage. Tom Brady's prop for passing yardage today opened at 295, is down all the way to 273.5 right now. It's just a monster drop simply because of the wind, right? And I don't hate that line move. I really don't. I mean, you can wait for it to keep on falling and then bet the over, but then you have to come back around and say, okay, the weapons that are going to be out there today for Tom Brady. I mean, this is a much different football team than what we saw last year from the Bucs. The Bucs were extremely healthy last year. That's the one thing that they got through the entire year without having real big injury concerns. Now you've got obviously the huge injury to Godwin. He's gone. Antonio Brown's off doing his own thing with Yee. I don't know what his new social media thing is, but now he wants to go hang out with rappers. Okay, fine. That's him, but he's gone. You got Gronkowski, you got Brate, you got Mike Evans, and you got a bunch of guys who are unproven to catch the football. You have no Leonard Fournette and you have no Ronald Jones today. So there's a big question mark at running back. I don't hate the move on the Eagles. I really don't. I think the number is somewhat shocking that it went over 7 and now it's come back down to 7. I wouldn't be shocked if it closed under 7. And I don't mind people who are going to say, hey, the Eagles keep this game close. I have the Bucs winning by 3. So yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles are live here to come in and run the football if they can do it. But I don't think that they can. That's why I'm on the team total under 19.5. I don't think the Eagles score today. I really don't. I think this is an offense that will stall in the red zone. I don't mind over 1.5 field goals or look at the kicking props for the Eagles. I don't mind those either. But I think 19.5 points, that's why I went under on 19.5 points for the Eagles. We'll go through this as we take a look at all the different books, okay, and how the books are. But at BetMGM, I've got 3 books I'll give you, okay? At BetMGM right now, you've got 62% of the money and 59% of the tickets are on the Bucs here at -7.5. That's the number for BetMGM right now. 7 at FanDuel, 7 I think DraftKings as well is at 7. For the money line, you got nearly half the money. 52% are on the Bucs from a money line perspective on the money. And the total, you've got 79% of the money on the under. This is why the number has come down. Everyone playing the wind. I don't hate that at BetMGM. Let's see. Let's go to FanDuel. FanDuel it's down to 7.5 at FanDuel. You have 52% of the bets and 60% of the money coming in on Tampa here, -7.5. The total is down to 46. And 58% of the bets and 70% of the money at FanDuel are on the under. WinBet, very similar things. They're down to 7. They open at 9.5. They're down to 7. You have 57% of the spread bets, but now you've got more money on the Eagles at WinBet. 56.2% of the money coming in here on the Eagles. Totals down to 46.5 at WinBet, and you've got 55% of the total money coming in here on the under. So, I mean, these are one of the things where you can go ahead and fade if you want to fade the public and say, okay, or fade the line move and say, I'm not going to buy the line move. But I mean, I don't think it's impossible to say, look, the Patriots game was an outlier last night. Patriots got their doors blown off. But as we all talked about going into the game, if you had teased the dog in the 20 games before the Patriot game, if you had teased the dog, you cashed on that leg. You were 19-1 before the Patriots game. So teasing the Eagles up today, I don't hate that. I really don't. I mean, I would rather 8.5 going up to 14.5. That would have been a better teaser. But, taking it down from 7 to 1 or 8.5 to 2.5, crossing 3 is the most important thing. Someone in the chat saying the Eagles are going to get blasted today. I don't know. Maybe they could. I mean, it's very possible because their offense is so predictable. Okay. This is the thing about the Eagles you look at the teams they beat, you look at the record. I mean, I've said there are some real fraudulent teams in the postseason. And I mean, the Patriots proved to be one yesterday, but I think the Eagles are a fraudulent team. I think the Steelers are a fraudulent team. I just don't think that they would be in. I mean, the Steelers shouldn't be in the playoffs, to be frank. I mean, that game should have gone to a tie, and the Chargers should be in. And the Chargers being in, over the Steelers is somewhat madness in my mind, but whatever. I mean, that's, we'll see that later tonight. We'll get to that game here in a second, but I just look at this team for the Eagles defensively and I go, all right, can they keep the game close? I think they probably can. I mean, they're going to go after Brady. They know how to make him uncomfortable, and Tom doesn't have his normal cast of weapons. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going in this. And look, watch how this game is refereed. ESPN's reporting that the refereeing crew for the Vegas and Cincinnati game is done for the season, the Boger crew. I mean, they were embarrassing. I mean, it was just an awful game. I mean, that's supposed to be the best of the best. If you're a Raider fan, you have every right to be pissed off this morning about what happened in that whistle being blown, that players stopped playing because you play to the whistle and then they blow the whistle. Touchdown gets, and that way the game was decided by a touchdown. And I'm not saying that Joe Burrow and company wouldn't have had another crack at score a touchdown on the next play. They could have, but that whistle was embarrassing and unexcusable and can't happen because everyone saw it. And then the fact that they did not go ahead and overturn it is even worse because there's no rule, right? The rule is, hey, you can't go or review whether or not a whistle was blown. It's for the referees on the field. So, I mean, Joe Burrow was nowhere near the sidelines, and yet they blew the whistle. I don't know. It was a very weird deal in that game, and now that crew is done. But watch for the referees today. I mean, the Eagles need this game to be called closely. They need this game. They need to have the fact that, I guess probably running plays. They probably do not want to see holding calls. They probably would like to see the offensive line be allowed to hold a little bit today. But otherwise, I mean, you want to be able to take, you want to have some good calls here. You want to have pass interference calls against those defensive backs. The one place where Tampa is very susceptible and vulnerable is in that secondary. And Devontae Smith, I can tell you right here, I'm actually not going to be that afraid of the weather for everyone, but one prop I'll give you here at the top is Devontae Smith over 45.5 yards receiving. Okay. That is readily available. Look around. His receptions is 3.5, but he could get this on one catch. Okay. It could be a screen. It could be a slant. I mean, he is going to have, I think, this is where I think we can bet some props on guys who are star players. If you say, well, they're going to try to take him away because who else did the Eagles really have? I don't care. Okay. Star players get force fed in the postseason. Okay. They find ways to get the football to their best players. And Devontae Smith is the best receiver on this Eagles team. I mean, frankly, Jalen Hurts has to find him. And 2 catches for 40 yards, 3 catches for 50, 60 yards, very, very possible. So as you guys have been with me for a while, I give out 4 props here on the stream, quarter unit for all of them. I think Devontae Smith has a game here today. I go over 45.5 yards. Yes, I understand about the wind. Yes, I know there's concerns there. Yes, I know that it could impact, but I just think you can find ways to get the football to Devontae Smith where you don't have to worry about and don't worry about the wind. And what happens if Tampa's up like 25, like 28-7, right? Where are they going? They're going to be throwing it every down, and they're just going to force the ball to Devontae Smith. So that's where I feel comfortable, even in the weather with the wind. I think it is very possible that he gets this quickly. And I'm not saying he's going to have a Jamar Chase type game like yesterday, but I do think Devontae Smith going over 45.5 yards receiving today is very, very possible. And I think that they're going to find a way, to get the ball to him. And look, someone writes in the chat, if the Eagles can't run the ball today, they're screwed. Absolutely. And they're screwed. I mean, I think the Eagles are screwed. I really do. I don't think they score. So I'm on the game under, I'm on their team total under, and I'm teasing the Bucs at 2.5. So clearly I believe they're going to be in trouble today against Tampa, but there's a big but there. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't mind someone said taking Gronk touchdown. I don't mind the Gronk touchdown. And to me, the Gronk touchdown prop has been profitable this year. I think Brady will be looking for Gronk in the red zone. I think it's a decent bet. Oh, sorry, I'm in the mic. Let me see what FanDuel's got that prop set at now for Gronk. Yeah, it's plus 115. I mean, that's okay value, but that's not great value. It's okay. I mean, but he's the shortest of all the odds. Mike Evans is plus 110. Keyshawn Vaughn's plus 135, Miles Sanders at plus 185. I don't mind the Jalen Hurts plus 195. That's great value on Jalen Hurts to have a rushing or just score a touchdown. I like that a lot from a value perspective. Devontae Smith at plus 260 is not horrible. Dallas Goedert at plus 250 as well. Not bad. I just think you should look for value. And look, someone says Cameron Brate anytime touchdown. Cameron Brate anytime touchdown is plus 430. I love that. Yeah, that's how, to me, anytime touchdown props, you got to go over plus 200 because chance. I mean, it's still very difficult going with the who you think is going to score or should score. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I mean, I was on Damian Harris yesterday, anytime touchdown for the Patriots. That didn't hit. So even though you think the game script's going to go the way you think it's going to go, that's why I think you need to have the value play, because if you bet 4 or 5 of these anytime touchdowns and you get 1 or 2 of them right, if you're at plus 300 or plus 400, you've covered it. It's going to be profitable. And then maybe you go on a crazy run, you get them all, and then that's great. But that if you like betting anytime touchdown props, that's how I'd recommend doing it. Plus 200 or more. Multiple 2, 3, 4 guys throughout the day. And today's a really good day to do it. I mean, I'm more committed today because of the daily juice than I normally would be. And look, I did not learn a lesson last year because obviously I did this last year and it blew up in my face. Could very well blow up in my face this year. So, I think Dan Harris actually just wrote, I miss Dan the best ever. Wow. Hi, Dan. See, what's funny is if you just do the live stream with me, like, so what? You don't work for the company anymore. You just do the live stream with me. If you're up and you're watching, I mean, my goodness gracious, are you that ingrained into our schedule that you just, see, you can't just show up here and just post like that and not get made fun of, Dan. Come on now. You can't do that. My goodness gracious. Hi, Dan. Hi to you too. Dan says hi. I guess checking up on me, to make sure that we're actually up and running. Yes, we got on 5 minutes late, but we are up and running. All right, game 2 today. Let's get to the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. To say I am committed to this game is an absolute understatement. I've got so much to do. I start teaching my class at UNLV on Wednesday. I haven't done the syllabus yet. I haven't done, there's like so many things I haven't done yet. Like I've just been so incredibly busy, and now I'm adding another job. It's like, oh gosh, this could be bad. So I had to do all this stuff today to get ready for class coming up on Wednesday. And I am going to be like watching Philly in Tampa, but not, I'll have it on. I'll be in this room doing work. It'll be on the TV set that's behind the camera, but I'm going to be I'm going to stop everything when it comes to San Francisco and the Dallas Cowboys. So juice guys, you guys know that I'm on San Fran +3 today. And I think the defense for the Dallas Cowboys is why. So I'm on +3 already. I've got 3 more props here on this game. But before I do that, let's get to where the numbers are. Dallas is seeing 67% of the money at FanDuel, 55% of the bets. Total's been pretty steady. 51. Total really hasn't moved all that much for this game. You got 60% on the over for money at FanDuel. WinBet has been pretty much like everybody else, just 3. If you touch 3.5, you see San Fran money coming in big. 53% of the money, 52% of the bets at WinBet coming in on Dallas, laying the 3. The total opened up at 49.5 at WinBet, now at 51%. And as you'd expect, 70% of the money on the over in this game. You got 66% of the money line, though, on San Francisco. Folks are kind of bypassing, so you've got more money on the -3 for Dallas and 66.7% of the money at WinBet coming in here on the money line for the 49ers. I would recommend that as well. I mean, I think that there are opportunities here to jump in, take the money line on the 49ers to win this game. I think Deebo Samuel is going to go crazy. I really do. I think he's going to be an absolute monster. And look, I have 2 Deebo Samuel props. I'm rolling in here on Deebo Samuel. I got Deebo Samuel over 60.5 receiving yards here in this game. It's a little juicy at -130. Don't care. I think he is going to be an absolute problem for this team at 60.5. I mean, this should be like 85, in my opinion. He's going to go way, way over this prop, in my mind, receiving wise. They're going to find him. They're going to feed him. Screen game, slant game, over the top. I mean, I think Jimmy Garoppolo's back there slinging it to Deebo Samuel, first and foremost, trying to find him. And I'm going Deebo Samuel over 60.5 receiving yards. But I'm not done. Okay, I'm not done. I'm going over 29.5 rushing yards for Deebo Samuel. I mean, this dude is just unique. He's going to get 6 or 7 rushes in this game minimum, okay? And he's going to be able, I think, to run on this Cowboys defense. I just think the running attack for them are so darn good. I mean, Deebo Samuel is the best player, arguably, in terms of the versatility as to what he does for either team. And I think Deebo Samuel today over 29.5 rushing yards, as well as Deebo Samuel over 16.5 receiving yards. Somebody's asking about the hat being a bias. You clearly haven't watched the live stream a lot. This doesn't matter. Okay. I wear this based upon who I'm betting. Okay. I have all sorts of hats. You want a Jaguars hat? Take a Jaguars hat. You want a Raider hat? Take a Raider hat. You want a Green Bay Packer hat? Take a Green Bay Packer hat. All right. I got hats on hats all over in this room. So it's got nothing to do with being biased. It's just where I am. Okay. Deebo Samuel over 29.5. Oh, wow. So I like the little emoji there, but I think Deebo Samuel is going to be the guy today. I really do. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And if you want to go ahead and take an anytime touchdown on Deebo Samuel, okay, that's fine. Somebody's asking, does Dan agree with your props? I have no idea. I haven't talked to Dan Harris. I don't know. I don't know where we are with this, but I don't know where we are with that. But no, the hat's got nothing to do with a bias. Okay. I'm not a Niners fan. I like the Niners a lot, but I'm not a Niners fan. And so, like, I'm a Patriot fan first and foremost. Go ahead and rag on me for that after last night. But everything else is kind of just like Raiders. I like the Raiders. I like the Niners. I'm a West Coast guy now because I'm in Vegas. So, but I'm first and foremost a Patriot fan. Okay. So we're going Devontae Smith over 45.5 yards receiving. Deebo Samuel over 60.5 yards receiving. Deebo Samuel over 29.5 yards receiving. And then the last prop is on this game. I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo over 250.5 passing yards. Prop bet cheat sheet agrees with this on the BettingPros website. I think Garoppolo is going to throw the ball a lot today. I don't like this Cowboys defense. Okay. I don't think they've played legitimate offenses. If you look at what happened with the Arizona Cardinals and how much success they had moving the football on the road, I just think that's going to happen again. And Mike says the Deebo Samuel rushing props even money at DraftKings. Wow, that's great. But I like Jimmy G over 250 half passing yards. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a game today. So as you can tell, I'm heavily committed on Niners +3, Deebo Samuel props, Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm also on the team total over 23.5 team total. I think this is an offensive game. I'm going to, and this is one thing you can do sometimes, Deebo Samuel rushing and receiving both, Sharon, both. I'm on both of them. So you've got a chance to stack a narrative, if you will, and play a game out, if you will. How do I see the game going? So everyone's coming in on the over, right? So with over, we have scoring. Who's going to be the scorer? Who's scoring? Cowboys are at 27.5. And the 49ers are at 23.5. Okay. Those are your team totals for either side. I think the Niners are winning this game. So then how many points will the Niners have to score to win the game? I think it's going to be 28 points. They got to get to 28 points. Do I think they're going to get 28 points? Yes, I do think they're getting 28 points. So if you go through that and say, all right, well, how do they get there? Well, they get there by Deebo Samuel and Jimmy Garoppolo having big games. So Garoppolo yardage, throws the football a lot, takes advantage. Yes, Garoppolo throwing a pick today is very possible. Okay. I am giving him one WTF throw. He had one against the Rams. And then he bounced back and had a touchdown drive in 48 seconds where he just went right down the field and they scored a touchdown and the game went to overtime. And they won the game in overtime. So like that, he can have one of those. So you want to bet yes for a Garoppolo pick? Don't hate it. Okay. If he has more than one, that's a problem. To win the game outright, by the way, this year when Jimmy Garoppolo avoids throwing a pick, they are 7-0 straight up. Okay. It's a big stat. Garoppolo doesn't throw a pick. There's a damn good chance Niners are winning this football game. If he does or throws multiple, they could be in real big trouble. But I just think when you look at the schedule for the Cowboys as to who they've played down the stretch, just didn't play anybody. Eagles are in the same boat. Eagles, played a bunch of dog teams and they beat one team, right? Like their record just is not as good. One game over 500, like over quality teams. Like it's just, there are certain teams. I'm hesitant to call the Cowboys team a fraud, but I am calling the Cowboys defense a fraud. That I don't buy that defense. And yep, getting after Garoppolo is going to be a big key. Gregory and company have got to get after it. Obviously, you've got some really stud Parsons and company, stud players on that. But the back end, Diggs is feast or famine, man. I know he picks off balls like crazy, but that guy gives up yardage, big yardage, and they get burned a lot. And Garoppolo, I think, is going to throw the ball all over the Cowboys today. And I think they'll run too, but I think that there's going to be such a worry about stopping the run for the Niners that I think that Garoppolo's back there and he's chucking the ball all over the place. So 3 props on that one game, 1 bet on a team total, and 1 bet on the side. So I am locked in on the Cowboys in the 49er game, and I am all in here, all in. If you think Micah Parsons guarding Deebo Samuel, Mike, that's it. Please, okay? You put a linebacker on Deebo Samuel, he will eat that dude for lunch overtime twice. I mean, that's not even, no. The Cowboys are not putting Micah Parsons on Deebo Samuel. They're not doing that. Look, I don't parlay props, okay? I do individual bets. I don't parlay much anyway. Someone's asking, should I be parlaying these? No, I don't do parlays. I don't like parlays. I do them for fun like everybody else, but I don't actually recommend them. They are a loser's bet. They are the way the books make a ton of money, okay? If you wonder why the books win what they win, They win it off of parlays. Okay. Straight bet. 4 bets. I bet quarter units on props. I don't go heavy. Some people bet full units. Some people do 2 units. Okay. I just don't do that. That's just not the way that I approach things when it comes to betting. And then we got the night game. And the night game with the Chiefs and the Steelers. FanDuel is at 12.5. You got 55% of the money and 55% of the money is on Chiefs. 55% of the bets are on the Chiefs. Total is holding steady at 46. It's a 60-40 split to the under there in that game. I'm coming in and I'm going -7 on the Chiefs first half. 6-11 the Steelers are in the second half against the spread this year, in the first half rather, but they are known for backdoor covers. This game reeks of a backdoor cover in my mind. This game, I don't want any part of the second half. Line open up at 13 at WinBet. It's now 12.5. 59% of the money on KC -12.5. 55% of the money coming in on the under at WinBet at 46 here. 77% of the bets and 70% of the handle coming in on Kansas City. Huge teaser liability and huge moneyline parlay liability all rolling into this game. Now, what's interesting, both home teams won, both favorites covered, okay, yesterday. If that happens today, it would be interesting because everything will roll to Monday for the books. And I will be extremely interested to see how the books handle Monday night if what happened yesterday continues to happen. Okay. Favorites, home team, favorites, home team. If that trend holds and Cowboys win, big win by the Chiefs, big win by the Bucs. Well, then into Monday, the Rams at home, the Cardinals are going to be a monster need for the books. Huge need for the books. I am extremely interested to see how that actually happens, what happens if that does happen, because that number for the Rams and the Cardinals has stayed pretty stagnant. Okay. It opened at 4.5, dipped down to 3.5. Some have been at 4. 3.5 is kind of the consensus number across. More money in handle on the Cardinals. 59% of the money at WinBet on the Cardinals. You got 77% of the money line. Folks are just skipping right over it, saying Cardinals won their last year. Public coming in on the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I'm leaning heavily on Cooper Kupp and the Rams. I think everyone's going to say what we saw last week, but Sean McVay has owned the Cardinals. That game is going to be extraordinarily entertaining. You've got 71.1% of the money on the under in that game. That at WinBet, that is stunning to me. I don't understand that at all. I lean over for sure in that game. From a WinBet perspective, it's a 50-50 split on the money at 49.5. I just think that there's there. Someone said, you say you only bet 1 unit. Don't forget LSU game. You recommended betting the farm. What LSU game? I didn't recommend it. I always bet 1 unit. The only, as far as my memory serves, the only bet I have given out in the last 6 months on the juice where I gave out more than 1 unit was Villanova to win the Big East at 2 units. And it's extremely rare that I ever do that, but that's how confident I was. And it didn't look good in the non-conference, but Nova's turned it around now, and they're in first place in the Big East. At the last time I checked it, they were 5-1. 6-1. I got to check that out. But that's the only time I've done that is the Nova bet that I laid 2 units on Nova, because I just think Nova is going to win the Big East in my mind. I just think they're the best team in the Big East. They have the most experience. They've got the best coach. Like that's the only time I ever do that. So like, I don't know which LSU game we're talking about betting the farm, but I know, I mean, I said that game where LSU against what bowl game was that where LSU had nobody and they played their tails. They got destroyed by like 100 yards. I forget who they played in that game, but I wish I gave it out more. I mean, I should have. I mean, to be quite honest, I definitely should have given out, but LSU was K-State. That's what it was. It was K-State. And K-State killed them. I mean, but I only bet 1 unit on it. I bet a lot of other things on it personally during the game and whatnot. That was where I did the in-game betting, where I bet pregame, I laid the 7 for K-State, but I had 5 in-game bets. And I'll say this, today from an in-game betting perspective, I think the Eagles in Tampa is a really interesting game from an in-game wagering perspective, because if you haven't bet this game yet, and we see a lot of, the Eagles get the football, they go down the field, they score, right? The number already is down to 7. There's a decent shot that if the Eagles score the first touchdown, you're going to get maybe 4, 5, 4.5, 5 out of the Bucs. Now the books may be hesitant to move, knowing what's going to come on in, but at halftime, if the Eagles are winning, everyone's going to come in and hammer the Bucs in the second half. And just, I wouldn't hate it, to be quite honest. I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this Bucs offense looks against the Eagles defense because of the guys they're missing. I mean, there's just so many missing pieces to this offense, and Brady can only do so much. That's why I teased it down to 2.5. I just think it's somewhat problematic. So that's how I'm going with that game. So, all right. Someone's asking, is there a Wong teaser possibility? Now, technically, the Bucs and the Eagles game does qualify. You would take the Bucs down to -1, and the total is 47. The problem is the other leg, and there isn't a Wong teaser option. Okay. I don't mind it if you were to take the Cardinals tomorrow night and tease them up to 9.5. I don't mind that. So a Tampa and Arizona teaser doesn't qualify, but if you're looking for something that is in the neighborhood, that's in the neighborhood. So you have a total of 47 and a total of 49.5. The total of 49 is the highest you go with the Wong teaser. 49.5 is over it, but it's close. And then you've got a road. It should be 2.5 for the Cardinals, not 3.5 for the Cardinals. But again, it's a point off, which is significant. 2.5 to 3.5 is significant. But if you want to tease it up, take the Cardinals up to 9.5 and take the Bucs down to -1. That's how you could play. If you want to do a Wong teaser, that qualifies. The San Fran Dallas game totals 51, doesn't qualify, and KC is a 12.5 point favorite, doesn't qualify for Wong teaser. So there is no Wong teaser to give out here today. There may be a Wong teaser at some point. We'll do these live streams every Sunday heading into for the rest of the playoffs. So we'll have wildcard weekend, then divisional weekend next weekend, and then we get into the championship weekends and then the Super Bowl. Maybe, there wouldn't be a Wong teaser in the Super Bowl, but maybe there's a chance to do Wong teasers throughout the playoffs. But really, the whole idea of a Wong teaser is to have the full complement of the schedule, the full, every game being played, and then you can go ahead and get into it. So we will do that. Okay, so just to recap here, no Dan Harris. No, Dan has left the company. So in case you're wondering where Dan is off doing big things in his new career, which is his old career, but his new career for us. Yes, just me. Sorry. You're just going to get me every day. Yeah, every Sunday doing the live stream. We are going over 45.5 yards. Devontae Smith receiving today for the Eagles. Over 60.5 receiving yards for Deebo Samuel. Over 29.5 rushing yards, Deebo Samuel, and over 250.5 passing yards for Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the quarter unit bets. If you haven't listened to the Juice yet, please listen to the Daily Juice. Come on. But in case you're curious, the other bets, Tampa Bay -2.5, under 52, teaser at -120. San Francisco +3, 1 unit, and KC -7 in the first half. I don't like 7.5. Okay. If you see 7.5s out there, I don't like 7.5. I don't think most books won't let you buy a half a point for a first half number, but if you can get it to 7, I know the potential of a blowout. Everyone's going to predict it. Fine. I just think, to me, it's very possible. I want the push opportunity for 7 points. You're not getting teams kicking field goals or kicking for going for 2. You don't get any of that. So this is our betting menu here. If you want more, the prop bet cheat sheet on bettingpros.com is a great place to go and look and see what is being recommended. Many of these are on the prop bet cheat sheets. Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, Devontae Smith. These are all props that also are confirmed and liked by the prop bet cheat sheet. It's not the end all be all. Don't go crazy. Don't bet it blindly, but through your research, if you like a prop, I always go and check it out. Say, okay, I like this prop. Here's how we go. This is what I'm doing. I look at the prop bet cheat sheet. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So That's what they like for that. So on the prop bet cheat sheet. All right. Before we wrap here, no real line movement to talk about. Tampa is still -7. I can't see this dropping below 7. This drops below 7. I think the Sharps are going to come in with a dump truck on the Buccaneers. This is the opener, and all the pros took the Bucs immediately from the opening number to 8.5. It's now come back down here because the weather is not going to be as bad as they thought. Under still 40, total still 47. Cowboys, San Fran hasn't moved. I bet San Fran plus even money, +3 even money. FanDuel's got it +108. So really the juice has been moving, but the books do not. Any book that goes to 3.5 gets buried on San Francisco money. Any book that goes to 2.5 gets buried on Cowboys money. So they've been betting the Cowboys. The public's on the Cowboys. That's why that number is not moving. And the number was opening at 13. Really opened up at 12.5, went to 13 for a second for KC Steelers and come back down. 12.5 is a really funky number. And again, the backdoor possibilities are extreme here for this, where, Big Ben's going to play to the end. This is the end of the career for Ben Roethlisberger, most likely. I can't see the Steelers winning this game. If you want to go shock the world parlay today, by the way, if you want to bet, if you want to bet a 3-leg parlay for $100, if you took Eagles, Niners, Steelers today, you want to get real funky, $100 pays 5,000. So if you want to get real crazy, if you think the world gets stunned today, there you go with the money line parlay. This, by the way, someone told me that everyone's doing this, and I think it's probably true. Tampa, San Francisco, Chiefs, 3-leg money line parlay. It's a +249 at FanDuel, +250. So 2-to-1 return on that. To me, the Niners are the question mark there. If you go with all favorites, all at home, it's still a +139. So it's not awful. It's, not a huge return, but if you go with KC, Cowboys, and the Buccaneers today at home, possible. Not going to say you're wrong. Very possible that that's how it plays out, but it's there. Okay. Any other questions? Steelers at +19.5 alternate line. I don't mind that. Yeah, that's. Can you alt bet the halves? Yeah, I mean, some books put up alternate lines for the first half. Yeah, that's possible. It's not consistent, but it's not possible. So, okay, guys. Every week we'll be back here on a Sunday. I'll be in the Discord channel. If you have never joined the Discord channel, come on now. You got to be in the Discord channel. Like, got 11,000 people that are in there already. Come join us. If you like the live streams, it's kind of this, only without the video. Come and talk in games, watching games, and taking a look at what's going on. We'll have a lot on the game tomorrow on the Daily Juice for Cardinals and the Rams. We'll get into that. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt as well. Other place to find me. I will see you in the Discord channel. Best of luck on all your bets.